Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Over on the bench here, I've got a review I'm going to do. It's going to be a two-part series on this cell phone signal booster that I bought. And the first thing I'm going to do today is just see how much power it actually uses, because when I take this up to my cabin in Northern Ontario, I'm off the grid, so I'm using just a power inverter, 120 volt power inverter, with solar panels and a battery bank. And I have to actually check to make sure that it's compatible for my system up there. So I'd just like to do a rough check and see exactly what the amperage draw is on this on 120 volts, and just so I know whether I can use this in my situation, because I've seen a lot of people on YouTube buy these systems. Some work, some don't work. And there's a couple of things like I'd like to find out first is, well, if I turn it off and turn it back on, does it all have to be rebooted and reset up every time? I don't know. And there's so many different systems out there. I just flipped a coin, and this is the one that I bought that works in my area. And let's get to it. So I'm going to put some amp clamps on here, and let's just see how much power this unit uses. But first, let's just take a look and see what you get when you order one of these. Okay, so this is how it comes in the box like this. I just open it up, and this is the first thing that I got right here. And so it comes with the cable to go outside. It comes with an internal antenna and an external receiver that captures the signal. And I imagine this is the box we're going to test right here. So I'll open all this up and I'll bring you back, and we're going to test it out with these clamp meters and see how many amps this thing actually draws when you're having it on. Okay, so let's just take a look at the setup here. So I've got it all set up and ready to go. And actually, this is like a pretty decent unit. This is all, like, I think it's aluminum or magnesium, but there is no numbers on this at all. I couldn't find any numbers anywhere. And if you take a look at the instructions here, well, you can see how this is supposed to go. You know, you've got the one unit that goes outside, the one unit that goes inside, and you just, here's the one on the wall that you mount there. This is the box that we're going to test today. And all you do is you just plug it in, and it's supposed to give you, capture a signal from outside and bring it in and amplify it. So this is the unit here, and I got my two meters on, and all I have to do is just plug it in and we'll see. And so let's just plug it in. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. I thought for sure it'd be at least an amp or so, but that is like 0.03 and 0.05. I mean, a half an amp is 0.5. So we're like to 1/20th of 1 amp. So yeah, that doesn't burn hardly any amperage at all. I mean, does this thing actually do anything? So, I mean, it's on, right? But yeah, I'm kind of surprised at that. I mean, I'll give her a go. But the instructions, yeah, it's in about 12 languages, and it's like, well, you got to be able to just read the good diagrams. I think that's what it's going to come down to. So that's pretty well the test there. So what is the reason why I'm doing this? Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is to try and resolve the problem I have. Is I'm inside my cabin, and well, I get no cell service. I can go to the one bedroom, and I can just barely get one bar. Most of the time, what I have to do, I have to go outside and stand around and then get some cell service, right? Now, I tell you something, there's some really fishy things going on about this cell service, you know, stuff going on in Canada. I'm with a company called Goboost, and they use the TELUS cell towers. And I have no TELUS cell towers anywhere close to me where I am up in Northern Ontario. And then I did some investigating and found out that TELUS uses Bell Canada towers. Now, at my place, there's Bell Canada and Roger towers. So, a friend of mine, two friends come up, One's got Rogers, and he has the same problems I have. The other one has Bell Canada, and he can sit inside my cabin and scroll through the internet. He can do all kinds of stuff on his phone, and I can barely, most of the time it says no service. So I decided to get one of these units. And what I have noticed that's really strange is he's on Bell. He has a Bell Canada cell phone, and he gets terrific service. I'm on TELUS that uses Bell Canada cell towers, and I get lousy service. So I really do think myself, I've had other people come up to my camp, and they have Bell Canada SIM cards and on their phone, and they get great service. And I'm using the TELUS, which runs off of Bell, but I get lousy service. And I'm thinking, well, if you're not exactly tied in with Bell, maybe you get like a lower service because you're using their towers. So I'm not exactly too sure how that all works. But the whole idea behind this is, in part 2, I'll put a link down below. So when I'm finished with part 2, I'll put the link down here in this video to show you the whole setup. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I installed it all and see whether these things actually work. Because in my situation, yes, I can get 1 bar outside of my cabin, and not very good service at all in most times, if any service. So what I'm thinking is, I'm not too sure whether this is capable for me, because when I go up to my place, all I do is I turn my power inverter off. And is this thing going to have to be reset and redo something every time? Now, I imagine a lot of people that have these in their houses. Got a friend of mine, Mike, down in Nova Scotia. He's got one of these. And when the power goes out, I don't know, does it all reset itself and everything? Because I really don't want to have this kind of a system where you have to go through the book and figure out how to reboot everything all the time. Hopefully it's not like that, but I'm going to explain all that in the future, and we'll see. Because in my cabin, it's all block walls. So I've got a door and 3 windows, and it's all block walls. So you can imagine it's pretty tough to get a cell signal in there in the first place. So I'm going to, hopefully that this is going to work for me. And I have a tower outside. It's just to put a telephone, not a telephone, a TV antenna tower. I just built a pole many years ago, and that sits on top. And I'm going to attach this to the tower, run the wires inside, and see if this works. So there's going to be a port 2 to this, and hopefully, this works out for the good, because, a lot of people are thinking about buying these, whether they actually work or not. And it doesn't work for everybody, it seems. You can look at the reviews on a lot of places where you buy these, and some are good, some are bad, some say you're wasting your money. I'm not too sure. So we're going to find out if I waste my money here or whether this is a great idea to have. If you live in an area like I do, where it has 1 bar, that's all I'm getting most times is 1 bar, and sometimes no service at all, depending on the weather, depending on the time of year, depending on the sunlight, because I notice in the evening, once the sun goes down below the trees, I get better cell service. So I mean, there's all kinds of different variables involved, and hopefully this resolves them all. So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting reviews about some interesting products that, well, I buy this myself, I review it myself, and I'm going to show you whether it works or not myself. Cheers.